What's up, everybody? Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. FanFest at Soldier Field wrapped up about an hour and a half ago. I had a couple things going on, so hopped on the mic here at home to get you guys a video. Got full reaction to Caleb Williams' practice. Not great overall, but a pretty good finish. And we talk about some other things, including something Ben Johnson said after practice and something that Caleb Williams must get fixed before week one. But before we get into all of that, perfect time to remind you guys to subscribe to the channel. We're less than 200 subscribers away from our next milestone, 126,000. A lot of new subs recently. You guys have been crushing it. I appreciate it very, very much. My goal is to be the go-to place here on YouTube for Bears content, training camp updates, and much more. And I've been feeling the love, and hopefully you guys have been enjoying the content. And if you're new here, I would encourage you guys to join. It's 100% free. Just hit that subscribe button. Okay, mostly sloppy from Caleb today, which not great, but there's been a lot of good practices recently, so I'm not going to call it the end of the world. It's a bumpy ride from the start of training camp to the end, and like we've said all along, you're hoping at the end is in a much better place than where he started, and I still think he and everybody else has progressed nicely throughout camp, even if today is a minor step backwards. But there were a few good moments. So my goal here is to kind of just outline some of the highlights from today's practice, and then we'll get to that note I mentioned a minute ago in terms of something Caleb does need to get fixed before week one. So the first thing that stood out, and Caleb has talked about this, not trying to play hero ball, especially when it's not there. Pick your spot to keep a play alive and try to do the Superman, if you will. But you gotta know when to do that, and you gotta know when it's unrealistic to pull that off. And today he was under siege at one point, obvious situation to throw it away, or honestly even just take a sack, and he just back foots a hero jump ball that has no chance, would have been picked, but Olamide Zaccheaus got his hand in there at the last minute to punch it out. It just can't happen. I tweeted out the clip of the play. Someone in the crowd got it, and it's just horrible. It is just horrible. So, it's one play, it's practice and a game. You would hope he wouldn't have even tried it. And I'm all for trying stuff in practice, but when there's no chance, there's no chance. And it was beyond a prayer. So that was not a pretty sight. Go through the slop first, then we'll get to the good stuff. Later in a drill where they started at their own 1 yard line, just kind of a situational, let's get out of jail. DeAndre Swift stuffed by Gervon Dexter for a safety. Not great. Dexter beat, I think Ryan Bates was in there at that point. Jonah Jackson did return today, but Bates was still in there some with the ones. So that wasn't great. Ben Johnson called it inexcusable. Cannot take a safety there. He said his goal in those situations when you're backed up like that, get at least 2 first downs. Because if you get a couple of first downs, even if you have to punt, you can at least flip the field a little bit. On another play, Ozzy Trapilo, who did, for once again, get the initial reps in team drills with the ones before Braxton Jones rotated in there, got beat pretty quickly once. Caleb had to spin out of there and scramble out for about 20 yards. It was a nice gain. 50-50, though, if he would have been sacked, if the defender was allowed to hit him. I would say, gun to my head, he probably would have at least made contact with the quarterback. I don't know if it would have been a clean hit, so it could have gone either way, but Trapilo was beat there, so that was kind of a busted play. Caleb was a little late on an out route toward the front pylon for Olamide Zaccheaus on a red zone throw. Tyrique Stevenson was able to make a nice diving PBU. That one was more of a nice defensive play, but if the ball was thrown with a little more anticipation, maybe it gets there. So just kind of a timing deal there. And then 3 delay of game penalties from Caleb in the first team offense. Now, there can be a lot of reasons for that, but to me, 9 times out of 10, that's on the quarterback. Now, could the play have gotten late in on one of those? Could there have been some confusion from another player? Of course, don't know the full context from it, but you can't have 3 of those. It's just unacceptable. And look, I think part of this is why you do these simulated events at the stadium, because there was 25,000 people there. The crowd was making some noise, and it's different from a more controlled environment at Hallis Hall, and that probably led to some of the penalties. So I hope it's a good learning experience, but it's something Caleb has to get fixed. And Ben wasn't happy about it. This is not something we should sugarcoat because the head coach isn't. Direct quote. It's something we're going to have to address. It showed up more today than it has in practice. We're not going to win many games by doing that. I agree. You have 3 delay of game penalties in a game, especially if it's on 3 different drives. That could kill all 3 of those drives. And you only get so many possessions. You might get, let's call it 2 a quarter. You might get 8 possessions. You have 3 of those on 3 of the 8 drives. It's tough to convert drives and to move the sticks if you have a holding, if you have a false start, if you have a delay of game. I mean, your percentages just decrease dramatically if you have penalties, especially just unforced errors, pre-snap penalties. And this was an issue last year. Delay of games, false starts, pre-snap stuff, illegal motion. Like, this is stuff that has to be cleaned up. And look, we're over a month away from the season opener, 5 weeks away from tomorrow. So plenty of time. But when Ben Johnson says, yeah, we're going to have to address that, that has not been nearly as big of an issue as it was today. You could tell he was pissed off. He was not happy about it whatsoever when it came to that situation. So definitely did not love to hear that when it came to Caleb and the first team offense. Now, there were some good moments too. Just kind of go through a few here. There was one play where Caleb identified the blitz, drifted away, and kind of floated one across field to a wide open Cole Kmet. Had Kyle Monungai in front, ready to block if there was a defender out there. There wasn't, so he trotted into the end zone. That was one of those Dennis Allen brought the house, and O-line did a good enough job picking it up. Caleb drifted, did the rest with his arms. So that was a nice play. Really nice end of practice where he hits DeAndre Swift for a nice gainer and a first down. I think they started at midfield, needing a touchdown with less than a minute. Hit Swift for about 20, hit Zacchaeus for about 25, and then at the 7-yard line with anticipation, Colston Loveland kind of gives a little shimmy route, like fake out slant, and before he even broke on the slant, Caleb lasered the ball to where he was going to be. Perfect timing, perfect throw, perfect route, perfect catch. Really, really nice play from the second-year quarterback and the rookie tight end. Colston Loveland showing up every day. DeAndre Swift on a play earlier in practice caught a swing pass and was one-on-one in space with Tremaine Edmonds. Hit him with a little shimmy as well in space, beat him to the edge, and picked up an extra 10 or 12 yards. A theme that continues is DJ Moore lining up out of the backfield, kind of a little Deebo Samuel-esque for him. 10-yard touchdown run, and not unlike a gimmicky play either, just a shotgun handoff where he followed blockers off right guard into the end zone. So he might get some like legitimate, just normal standard carries at times this year, which is going to be interesting. So keep an eye on that. Ben Johnson praised Kyle Monungai, the rookie running back, after practice, saying he thinks he's someone they'll be able to trust. He used that word trust with Monungai this fall. My gut tells me he's starting to either catch up / pass Roschon Johnson. Be interesting to see how the reps go once we get the joint practice this Friday and obviously the preseason opener. I would expect both those guys to play quite a bit. Ben Johnson was also asked about about pass catchers that he feels like he trusts the most up to this point. He named 3 guys and then gave a 4th. The 3 he named were probably the 3 you would expect to hear: DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet, and then he added Olamide Zacchaeus as well. He mentioned that Colston Loveland and Luther Burden are progressing well, but they're still playing catch-up, so he said he couldn't quite use the word, full trust with them yet, although it feels like Loveland's pretty close, and Luther's obviously been stacking some nice practices, but you are still seeing Zacchaeus work with the ones more than Luther, so still some catch-up work needing to be done there. And listen, if Loveland and Burden enter that trust, that circle of trust, then you've got 6 guys, plus Swifty out of the backfield that you feel pretty damn good about. So there's weapons galore, and that's very, very exciting. And look, you just hope that these guys continue to grow, get on the same page, that Caleb continues to progress. At times you see really nice moments. At other times, the ball's late or he's taking a sack. And, there was one play that I saw the backside view of where it was a red zone drill where no one was super open, but if he threw one to the back of the end zone, I believe to Zacchaeus with a tick of anticipation, if he throws it to the spot, it's probably a touchdown. Or it's, his guy or nobody's where, he's not wide open. He hadn't cleared the safety yet, but it's kind of one of those next level, like just throw it to the spot, because even if you throw it too far out in front, there wasn't a defender in range to make a play on the ball if you threw it to where it needed to go. It's either going to be Zacchaeus or nobody. So again, those are just next level timing things, and I think the throwing with anticipation part of Caleb's game is still a work in progress. Sometimes you see it. We saw it with the Colston Loveland slant touchdown where he's not even out of his break and he throws it. We saw it in a practice the other day, out route to DJ Moore, not even out of his break. Ball is there. DJ turns, and as he looks up, the ball is about 2 feet away. So you do see it. He is capable of it, but you don't see it ever all the time, and you don't. It's like the confidence to do it isn't always there. Maybe in that red area on that one play, it's just like, man, I don't want to turn the ball over here, but you gotta understand, the risk reward nature of it. And I think on the particular play I'm talking about, again, I don't think it was that high risk. I think if he throws to a spot, it's either going to be Zacchaeus or nobody. So, these are clips that are surfacing on social media. It doesn't tell the full story. We don't know the progression of the read, of course, but just something that I think is worth mentioning. Lastly, a couple new injury notes here. Kron Amagaji did not practice. He's dealing with a leg injury. I do wonder if this left tackle competition has gone from 3 to 2. Yesterday, Declan Doyle said those guys will continue to rotate, but I wonder if those guys are more so Ozzy Trapilo, who's been getting more reps with the ones than anyone, and Braxton Jones. So we'll continue to monitor that. Bill Murray's dealing with an ankle injury, did not practice again today. Ricky Stromberg in concussion protocol. I think I mentioned that one. So is UDFA running back Deion Hankins. Miles Boykin, who's had a pretty good camp. Bears media were told today that he injured his ankle in the last practice. Doesn't seem too severe, but was not out there today. And then tight end Jordan Murray, who's a long shot to make the roster, is dealing with a groin injury. Of note, Jonah Jackson did return today. Ryan Bates still got some work with the ones, but that is where that sits at this point in time. So that is it from today's training camp practice. Again, not a great day for Caleb in the first team offense. And look, there's been a lot of good days recently, so I don't think you guys should panic. But I'm also not going to sit up here and blow smoke when there's no reason to. So good day for the defense. A couple of defensive notes, because I think sometimes in training camp, and I'm guilty of this, it's all just reaction to the quarterback and the offense because, offense sells, it's sexy, all that stuff. But who's having a really strong camp is Montez Sweat. He has made a lot. He's been living in the backfield recently, so that's exciting. Grady Jarrett blew up a play today. He's popped a few times. The old guy still got something in the tank. Gervon Dexter, I believe, was the player who had that safety earlier. So while this offensive line, we're excited about it, and it should be much better, D-line is challenging them now. And Dennis Allen's throwing different looks, stunts, blitzes. Today, it sounded like they did a lot of linebacker and secondary blitzes to challenge the offense, and sounds like the defense got the better of them today. So they get paid too. Dennis Allen has an ego too, like Ben Johnson said. So those are all things that we got to remember as we go through this. But exciting stuff nonetheless, and we'll continue to cover it. Again, trying to get to 126,000 subs ASAP. We have a show for you guys tomorrow morning, and then we'll be live tomorrow afternoon as well. So we'll see you guys then here on Chicago Bears Now. Bear down.